There's a specific kind of frustration that eats at high performers, and almost nobody talks about it. It's the moment you realize the people around you are winning by cutting corners. The competitor who exaggerated the numbers and closed the round. The colleague who took the shortcut, skipped the diligence, and somehow got the promotion. The rival who broke the unspoken rules and paid no price for it. And there you are, doing the work the slow way, holding the line, and quietly wondering if you're the last honest person in the room, if you're the fool. Because it doesn't feel like strength in that moment. It feels like you're losing. That pressure, the pressure to bend just this once, because everyone else already has, is one of the hardest tests a leader ever faces. Not the pressure of a hard decision, the pressure of watching cutting corners get rewarded while your integrity gets you nowhere. This is about how you hold your standard when holding it costs you something real. Start with the honest part. The reason this is so hard is that in the short term, cutting corners actually works. The person who fudges the report hits the deadline. The founder who overpromises gets the funding. The manager who plays politics instead of doing the work climbs faster. You are not imagining it. In any given quarter, the shortcut often wins. So your brain, which is wired to track status and survival, sends you a signal. You are falling behind, and the rules are the reason. That signal is loud, and under pressure, it gets louder. This is where most people fail, not because they decided to become dishonest, but because they got tired of feeling like a sucker. Integrity rarely collapses in one dramatic choice. It erodes in 100 small justifications. Everyone does it, just this once. It's not really lying. The corner cutting doesn't feel like a betrayal of your values. It feels like finally leveling the playing field. That's the trap. The pressure isn't asking you to be evil. It's asking you to be reasonable. Here's what changes the whole picture. None of this is new. It's tempting to believe we live in an especially corrupt moment, that standards used to mean something, and now everyone's on the take. But that story is false, and believing it will drain you. 2,000 years ago in Rome, elections were openly bought. Positions of power went to whoever paid the most or flattered the right people. Ambitious men lied, betrayed, and stepped over anyone in their way, and many of them were rewarded for it with wealth and status. The world Marcus Aurelius governed was not cleaner than yours. It was arguably worse, which means the temptation you feel to bend because everyone else already has is not a symptom of your era. It's a permanent feature of human beings under pressure. And that reframe matters because it takes the problem off your shoulders. You are not fighting a uniquely broken system. You are facing the same test every principled person in history has faced. Seneca put it plainly. The wise man does not need corruption to be absent from the world in order to remain uncorrupted. The rot around you is not an excuse. It's the exam. So how do you actually stay principled when bending would be easier? Not with willpower alone. Willpower fails under sustained pressure. You need structure. First, decide the rules before the pressure arrives. The Stoics called this premeditation. You don't want to be negotiating your integrity in the heat of a deal when the money is on the table and the shortcut is right there. You want to have already decided in a calm moment what you will not do. A line drawn in advance holds. A line drawn under pressure bends. Second, separate what you control from what you don't. You cannot control whether the corner cutter wins this quarter. You cannot control whether your integrity is noticed or rewarded on your timeline. Epictetus was ruthless about this. Chasing outcomes you don't control is how you lose your composure and your character at the same time. What you control is your own conduct. Anchor there. Third, play the long game deliberately. Shortcuts are loans. The founder who lied to investors now has to keep lying. The manager who cut the corner now has a weakness someone can exploit. Cutting corners doesn't remove the work. It defers it with interest. Integrity is the opposite. It compounds. Every time you hold your standard, you build something the corner cutters can never fake, a reputation that people stake real decisions on. And fourth, the hardest one, stop keeping score against the people who cheat. The moment you measure yourself against them, you've already let them set the terms. The composed performer isn't running their race. He's running his own. Here's what I want you to take from this. Staying principled when everyone else is cutting corners is not about being naive, and it's not about moral superiority. It's a performance strategy. In the short term, corners get cut and cheaters get ahead. That's real, and pretending otherwise just makes you bitter. But you are not built to win the quarter. You're built to still be standing, trusted and composed when the people who took shortcuts have quietly collapsed under the weight of everything they deferred. The pressure to bend will not go away. It didn't for the Romans, it won't for you. So stop waiting for a cleaner environment and start treating the compromised one as the test it actually is. Draw your lines before the pressure hits. Hold what's yours to hold. Let the outcomes you don't control go. And measure yourself against your own standard, not against the person cutting the corner next to you. That's the quiet advantage. Not that you never feel the pull, everyone feels it. But that when the moment comes and bending would be so easy, you've already decided who you are. And a man who's already decided doesn't have to negotiate under pressure. He just holds the line.